I heard my mother-in-law and husband's aunt talking about me, and I can't get over it.
Oh.
This is going to be a bit long because there's a lot of context. I, 20 female, had a consensual arranged marriage to my husband, 23 male, and we have a beautiful 6-month-old boy. My mother, 45, and my mother-in-law, 42 female, are childhood friends. My mom got married and moved abroad and lost all contact with her best friend. We moved back home in 2018. My mom got in contact with my mother-in-law in 2019, and they started catching up. My mom ended up liking my husband, who is the oldest son, quite a bit, but it was my mother-in-law who asked for my hand. We are religious, so my husband and I only talked under supervision of parents, and damn, I fell in love. He is smart, good looking, and has a weird humor that I absolutely love. We got married pretty soon, which no one was expecting, but one thing led to another. The thing about me is that I cannot cook. I hate cooking, or even being in the kitchen. I can do every other household chore, even laundry. My mom knew it and never forced me to be in the kitchen. In our culture, quote, women belong in the kitchen, but obviously times are changing. My mom shared her concern on this, and my mother-in-law shrugged it off, saying I am young and will learn if I wanted to. Emphasis on wanted to, because throughout my first year of marriage, she said that to everyone who asked if I knew how to cook. My mom's still worried because she didn't want my mother-in-law to throw remarks about this, because that is what most mother-in-laws in my country do. I am also a student and now a mother. It's hard to juggle all of this, which is why I try my best to take it easy on chores. I live with my in-laws and mostly do dishes or serve tea and biscuits to guests, and that is all. We also have a maid for cleaning the house and another maid for laundry. Many times I have offered to make food for the family, but my mother-in-law always laughed and said that she wasn't that old. I boasted about her to everyone, all caps, literally everybody. She is the kind of mother-in-law that girls in my country dream for. I've always loved her just like my mom and treated her as such. We do have some arguments, especially regarding the way I parent my son. She has some traditional views where I believe in facts, but we have compromised on many things and it's been working very well. I have to emphasize on one more thing, and that is that my husband is not a huge fan of homemade food. He rarely eats at home and loves having food from different places. He also does his best to have healthy options. Multiple times, whenever he comes home, there is no food left for him. There's 7 people in the family and they all eat a lot. So if someday the food is really good, they finish it all up. Because he comes home late at night, he will have to order a lot of times. I feel very bad that my husband does not get his share, so I always volunteer to cook. But my husband just shrugs it off like it's just something he is used to and just orders something. I'm sharing this to tell you I have no obligation to cook because my husband does not mind not having homemade food. Therefore, there is no rush for me to learn because it's my job to look after him and not the whole family. Back to my mother-in-law. She never told me to cook. The few times I have cooked, it's because I forced her to let me. Today, she went to my husband's aunt's house. The aunt lives very close to our house and visits almost every day. She loves my son and always comes to see him. Today, my son was taking a nap when my mother-in-law left, and when he woke up, I decided to take him there too. I wanted to surprise them, which is why I quietly entered the entrance door. We live in a very safe neighborhood and always leave our main doors open, and I could hear them from the living room. They couldn't see me as I was removing my slippers to enter. Just before I could come into their view, I heard the aunt say, when my brother-in-law's fiance gets married and moves into the family, the fiance is the aunt's niece, she will handle the family well. My mother-in-law answered, quote, yeah, my name doesn't know how to do anything, cannot even cook. To which that aunt replied, quote, yes, my name has no idea how to do anything. I literally wanted to turn around and leave. I was completely numb and my body just moved forward and they all saw me. The aunt just jumped into excitement and ran to grab my son, whereas mother-in-law had a very awkward/dumbfounded expression. I wanted to cry. This was exactly what my mother used to fear, and I always said that my mother-in-law would never say such things. I am so devastated to think that she was talking about this behind my back. She did not meet my eyes when I was there, and I wanted to cry. I am trying my best. She knows I am young and cannot do so many things at once. She always told me to take my time and is saying such awful things about me behind my back. I keep thinking why she even asked for my hand when she knew all of these things. I know it's not a big deal, but it's just all I can think about right now. Not even sure if I should talk about this to anybody. Definitely not my mom because she trusts her friend a lot. I don't even know if sharing this with my husband is okay. We have an update. It starts off, I am so devastated and so disappointed. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I just want to leave and go to my mom. So I stayed up until 2 a.m. to talk to my husband, but he did not come, so I just went to sleep. As soon as he woke up, I sat him down and burst into tears. I told him everything I felt and why I felt that way. He stayed quiet. I told him that I want to learn how to cook, but not instantly because it's not the easiest thing, especially with a 6-month-old that practically doesn't let me leave him with anybody else. My husband quietly listened. He even said he did not mind whether I cooked or not. He said he will never force me to learn, definitely not until baby gets older. This made me think he was understanding me. When I shared how his mother and aunt were talking about me, he simply said, quote, "I don't see what they said is wrong." I continued to explain how she could have just talked to me directly, but instead said I don't know how to do anything behind my back. I tried to make him understand that she always told me I could take my time, yet she expects me to learn it quickly. He just laughed and said I was overreacting and that all women gossip. I was baffled. Tears in my eyes, I left the room. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a shame that my husband did not understand how stupid I felt after hearing that. I got busy doing chores for my son. My husband has no office today, so he was just chilling. I was washing the dishes when my mother-in-law came and told me to come into my room because she wanted to talk. I got nervous because I'm not a confrontational person. We sat down and she just kept going on and on about how she wants what is best for me. She kept giving reasons why she said what she said. She kept cutting me off, and all I was trying to say was that she should have shared her thoughts with me and not someone else. She just wouldn't listen to me. In the end, she complained how I shouldn't have told my husband about this. She said I'm trying to cause problems between them. I was speechless. I said that if she could talk to me about me to someone else, then I could talk about her to my husband. She started getting angry at this point and said that I was being rude and maybe this is my true face. She said she did not expect me to be such a typical daughter-in-law who causes issues between her husband and his mother. She said, quote, "I cannot believe what I brought into my house." And before I could answer, she left. I cried and cried. When my husband came into the room, he had a worried expression and asked me what happened. I just told him I want to go home. Currently packing my and my baby's stuff so I can go to my mom's. I have never felt this hurt by someone's behavior. My husband is trying to calm me down, but I just want to leave. I do not know what is going to happen now, but I know for sure I cannot live with this woman anymore.
My husband cheated on me, so I let his whole family watch. Story time. I had a suspicion that my husband Steve was cheating on me, constantly laughing at his phone and texting someone. I was like, "Oh babe, who are you talking to?" Tells me it's his mum. Okay, Steve. It also got to the point where he was staying late every night. When I called his office, his co-workers told me he left hours ago. When I told him about this, he laughed it off and told me that it was something they did all the time in the office. Last straw was when he went out at 11:30 at night to buy milk and didn't return till 3:30 in the morning. Fast forward to Steve's birthday. I know what you're thinking. Why the hell would I wait that amount of time before confronting him? Did it really need to be on his birthday? The answer to the first question is that I wanted to gather as much information as I possibly could. I wanted to have all of the evidence to hand off to my lawyer. I also needed to find a place to live. The answer to the second question, did it have to be on his birthday? Of course it did. When I asked him what he wanted to do for his birthday, he insisted that I go out of town, since he'd have to work anyway. That's not how it works, Stephen. And after finding a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses in his closet, I knew something was wrong. I left and I went to my friend's house, and I told Steve that I was going out of town. Whilst there, I phoned his mum, his dad, his sister, and several of his friends. I told them all that I was planning a surprise. I wanted cakes, streamers, banners, balloons, the lot. Sounds fun, right? It was. So on the day of his birthday, it's 8:30 in the morning. His mum the cake to carry. I told everyone we needed to be quiet as mice. We all sneak towards mine and Steve's bedroom. Everyone's got party horns. His mum, bless her, was smiling ear to ear. She was so excited. I flung open the bedroom door. We all shouted, "Surprise!" But the surprise was for his family. There Steve was, on the bed, on all fours, with the receptionist from his work. His mum dropped the cake. His sister started screaming her head off. My ex-husband was screaming and crying, saying, "How could you?" Meanwhile, Susan, the fucking receptionist, is trying to get clothed. She literally ran out half-dressed. Needless to say, it was one of the best birthday presents I've ever given anyone.
Story on how Sophia LaCourte stole my boyfriend. So there are some key points that I feel like I should point out first. Oh no. One is going to be, I was in high school. I'm 23 now. I can't sit here and say that I think about this daily, that it is something that stops me from sleeping. I genuinely posted this because of the fact that it's just funny that this literally happened to me. A little different scenario, but when it happened to me, I was not the victim, unfortunately. One main question is, did you go to high school together? No, we didn't. You didn't have to go to high school together to know people, though, in our area. New Jersey is very small, and Monmouth County, everybody knows everybody, and if you live here, you know that. Like, were we friends? No. Literally, we probably knew of each other. I know that she definitely knew that my boyfriend, the boy that she was going for at the time, had a girlfriend. That's a definite for sure. She hung around a lot of my high school's friend groups. So she was a wrestling book girl and he was a wrestler. I was the wrestling girlfriend. I was at every single event of his wrestling matches. You can't say that you didn't know he had a girlfriend, that is for sure. Especially if you did stalking, I was posted. Now, there's where the boy went wrong, is that he did cheat on me a lot. So is this expected on his side? Abso-freaking-lutely. Was I dumb for staying? Like, yes. We all know that. I was literally 16, 17, 18, so on. We did date for 4 years. Besides the freaking point. On St. Patty's Day, my high school and every other high school in Monmouth County, like I said, and even other counties, went to St. Patty's Day parade in New York. We all would skip school. It was something I was genuinely so excited for until I got a beautiful, bright, early good morning text from my boyfriend saying, I'm breaking up with you. 5 minutes into my devastating breakup that I thought we were both grieving over, I see a Snapchat from one of my friends of my boyfriend at the time's story. Now, I understand, like, gingers and St. Patty's Day go like this together. Sorry for anyone that's a ginger that I offend. Anyway, but I didn't know that meant, like, go get yourself one on St. Patty's Day. Because I see my current boyfriend and Sophia together in a pic, booed up, like they've been dating for years. I then am in shambles because there's one thing to break up. It's another now to go see your boyfriend that you just spent 3 years with another girl the same day after him breaking up with you. I DM her and I'm like, hey girly, you're with my boyfriend, basically. Like, it's not technically my boyfriend. He literally broke up with me today to hang out with you, like, just to let you know. I probably was a lot meaner in the text. I wasn't the sweetest girl in high school. Whatever, sue me. So my heart was in her DMs. Like, I poured everything I could into that DM to be like, please give me my boyfriend back. I'm freaking out. That she was out with that day that went to high school with me and knew about my relationship. So I don't think that she can sit there and say she didn't know. Also, the boyfriend at the time did tell me she did know, but all he had to do was break up with me. It goes on. I am crying throughout the day. I am a mess. But I see them in the train station. And I went up to her to try and have a talk with her and my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, I guess, in the moment. And she turned away from me and turned her back to me. I don't know if she knows what genuine feelings and emotions are, because then she proceeded to tell my boyfriend at the time she's crazy and I'm a mean girl. I'm gonna fast forward because after all of this drama kind of just like went down, eventually they stopped talking and she never answered my DM. So now let's skip forward to freaking like freshman year of college. We had broken up, me and this man, finally, whatever. I see that they were talking again. But this boy was always constantly hitting me up, saying he missed me, saying all this stuff. So as a nice girl who was getting over all of her sweet trauma with this boy, DMs this girl again, Sophia, and is like, hey, just want to let you know, I do see you guys are talking, but he is still hitting me up. Like, we do still have a lot of baggage. I am just making you aware. I don't want any trouble. No answer. Rude. But okay, that's fine. You know what? You don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm glad we're finally on the same pages here. Now, COVID comes around. I start to get a little bit of TikTok followers, and by a little bit, I mean like 45K. Correct? Now this is where it gets a little weird, and I'm sure enough I'm gonna get a lot of comments saying she doesn't owe you anything, but just listen, I hope you're here. I'm on TikTok live, and I get a message from Sophia on my TikTok live saying, can we be best friends? Now at this time she had no TikTok followers at all, so it's just a little ironic to me that now I have a little bit of clout and you want to share again. And you couldn't answer my DM about me being genuinely brokenhearted, but you can set up on my TikTok and be like, can we be besties after getting with the same man after stealing my boyfriend? You want to be best friends? No, that's not the way I work. I do not work like that. I don't want to be fake best friends. I don't want anybody in my friend group that I can't trust. I know I don't owe anybody anything, but if I have the knowledge of knowing that a boy was with somebody or treated a girl like shit, I just believe in, like, you get them or you lose them the same way that you got them, which is exactly what happened in this case. I feel like it's dumb to say, but I genuinely don't wish, like, hate or anything on anybody. I do think that it was a really shitty scenario. We were young. Sometimes people are put in shitty scenarios. There's definitely two sides to every story. No one deserves any type of hate, but I'm just explaining my side of the story, how it happened to me. You know, I saw an open door and I walked in. Also, funny enough, when she got her, like, fame and her followers, she unfollowed me. So I guess he didn't really want to be besties, but that's okay. Me neither. He seems super gorgeous. She is probably super cool, just not my type of girl, and that's okay.
These are signs that your friend is boy crazy. If you do any of these things, I really hope you get out of the shackles of male validation and male attention. When she has never been single, like the most she's been single is probably like 3 months. As soon as she gets in a relationship, she's ghost. It's silent. You never hear from her or speak to her again until they break up or until they have a big fight. As soon as guys come around, she switches up. Like, she acts completely different, or she's even like spilling your secrets to make herself look better. When she tries to get with your ex, or when she tries to get with someone who you have a crush on, like, she specifically knows. She doesn't really care if a guy that she's interested in is in a relationship. Like, she will try to talk to him, or she will try to homework that relationship. When all she does is talk about herself or the guy that she's interested in, she will, like, never ask you about yourself. Every single time she's around a man, her voice changes. Like, all of a sudden, she talks super high-pitched. When all of their intentions are to see a man or to get with a man, like, they're only gonna go out to this specific club because they think that this guy will be there. Or they dress for, like, the male gaze and, like, male attention. Like, when you're at a party or you're just in a vulnerable situation, she will leave you quick to go talk to a guy or to go get with a guy. Boy crazy girls are the type of girls who will follow your man and like all his posts. And they always say that girls are drama and that's why they don't have any girlfriends. If your friend is getting mad about the fact that some other guy is giving you attention, she's very much boy crazy. Trust me when I say a lot of boy crazy girls look at other women as competition. When she sets her worth off male validation and male attention. And if you have friends like this, babes, that's not your friend. She looks at you like you're her competition. Like she is competing with you over a man. And let's just be real, men will never be the prize. Like, they will literally get with the crackhead, y'all. If you're the type to do any of these things, babes, wake up right now, okay? This is already peeling, so let's just peel that hoe off.
The reason you can't get over your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend is not because like they're the one for you and you just can't stop thinking about them, they're the one for you. It's because you can't stop romanticizing them. Trust me, bitch, you're not fucking alone. The reason I even thought about this was because I was doing it the other day to my best friend. I was talking to her and I had like this big life event happen and I was like, oh, I just like want to tell him because like him and I used to talk about when this dream would come true for me. And I was like, he was always so supportive. And she's like, yeah, and he also cheated on you. Like, I'm so sick and tired of you romanticizing the fuck out of this loser. And it had me thinking I love to do it. What romanticizing ultimately does is it prevents you from moving forward. The longer that we stay focused on the past and how amazing the things were in the past, the longer it's going to take us for to actually live in the future. Fuck, even live in the present. More time you spend thinking about the amazing things that your ex did and all those things, you're just glorifying that part of the relationship and you're romanticizing it, so it's going to feel impossible to get over. And it is so much easier to sit and think about all the amazing things that happened, because that's not a painful truth that you have to come to terms with. Like, it's easier for me to be like, oh my god, remember when him and I like spoke about this dream that's like, blah, blah, blah. It's so much easier to talk about the good things rather than like, oh my god, wait, actually remember the day I found him cheating on me, or the day that he disrespected the fuck out of me, or all the times that we spent fighting or things like that. It's like, no, of course I'm not going to sit and always think about the negative things that happened and the actual reason why I left that person, because that is a harder truth for me to face. It's fucking fun to romanticize the good things that happen. It is, but at the same time, like, I'm just stunting my own growth, and like, you're also just stunting your own growth. I'm not saying that you have to hate a motherfucker to get over him, but I do think you need to be realistic with yourself to get over somebody. Like, I'm sure that person was great in all the aspects that you remember them being great in, but I'm also sure that person was not great in the aspects of why you broke up with them. Like, you honestly have to remember why things ended in the first place. Literally, the only way to get over your ex is, like, honestly, to be realistic. I think it's a really good reminder, like, if that person was meant to be in your life, they would be in your life. There's a reason that person is no longer with you. Focus on that reason and not all the amazing things that happened in that relationship, because it really is easy to get stuck living in the past and like existing in the past, but that you literally don't experience growth in that sense. You cannot grow and move forward if you continue to live in the past of any relationship, any friendship, any fucking anything.
Am I wrong for refusing my birthday gift because it was a Weight Watchers subscription? That is so many shades of fucked up. Hey everyone, I turned 18 female yesterday, but it seems to cause a bit of drama in my family, so I'm asking for honest, objective opinions on whether I'm wrong. For reference, my weight has always been made fun of in my family. My aunt specifically has always been very unkind and fat shamed me, even when I was younger and struggling with my body image. She used to tell me that my clothes look so small on me and that even her clothes are probably small for me. She used to remind me to go on diets constantly. I'm currently 320 pounds if it adds context too. I hadn't seen my aunt in a while, and for the most part I was really glad to see her for my birthday. I was slightly dreading if she would say something to me because I'm aware I have gained a lot of weight since I last saw her. But she just made a few comments, so I thought it was the end of it. I was opening a birthday card she gave me a few hours later and it had money in it, with the note that said, "Money for Weight Watchers. Make some real change for once." That is so fucked up. What the heck? This was humiliating, and I asked her about it, and she said that she could tell I was miserable and that I was probably looking really good underneath the fat. She said this in front of my parents, and it was very embarrassing. I told her I'm not accepting the gift and she's making me look stupid, but she said that she was just worried for me and my health. I don't believe this. She's made fun of my weight for years, even before I was a teenager, but my parents think I was overreacting and I should have just accepted it. My aunt has a notoriously big mouth and my parents think she's going to tell our whole family, so they're getting kind of worried about what I've done. So, am I the asshole?
Am I the astronaut for refusing to let my sister's family live in my house after they sold theirs for a dream vacation? So I, 32 male, own a modest 3-bedroom house that I've been paying off for the last 10 years. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine, and I'm proud of it. My sister, 29 female, and her husband, 31 male, are the typical free-spirited types. They've always talked about quitting the rat race, living a life to the fullest, and all that. Well, a few months ago, they finally did it. They sold their house during a booming market, thinking the profit would fund a year-long break to travel. They believed they could stretch the money by traveling cheaply, staying in hostels or Airbnbs, and getting by with the occasional odd jobs. At first, they stayed in nicer places and ate out a lot, thinking they had plenty of cushion. But within 2 months, they were out of money. They underestimated how quickly expenses would pile up, especially with 2 young kids, 7 female and 5 male, to feed and care for. Now that their funds are drained, they've decided to stop full-time travel, but don't want to settle down yet. Instead, they asked to live with me, rent-free for the next 10 months while they figure things out. They say they'll still try to make some occasional trips if they find super cheap deals, but for the most part, they want to stay at my house. I told them no. My house isn't big enough. I don't want the disruption, and I certainly don't think it's fair for them to live off of me because their plan failed. I offered to help them find an affordable rental or even cover part of their expenses for a couple of months so they could get back on their feet, but that wasn't enough. My sister blew up at me, calling me selfish and accusing me of being jealous of their adventurous lifestyle. To make it worse, my parents are siding with her, saying that family should help the family and that I'm being too rigid. The thing is, my parents live in a small apartment and can't take in my sister's family, which is probably why they're pushing it on me. Well, yeah, They say I don't understand the value of experiences and that I should be more supportive. Some of our mutual friends are also saying that I should be more understanding, but I think it's completely unreasonable to expect me to house their whole family for nearly a year just because they didn't plan properly.
Have you heard of the lamp theory? Well, if you're confused by the lamp theory TikToks that you keep saying, I'm gonna explain it to you. So this guy posted on Reddit a story and it's called A Parallel Life Awoken by a Lamp. Basically, he talks about how in his last year of college, he was assaulted by a very large football player. This football player was 325 pounds and the guy that is writing this story was 120 pounds. And after that, he talks about how after this whole situation happened, he met this woman who he really, really liked, and he pursued her for months, and she had some boyfriends, and then finally, he got her. They dated for 2 years, and then after the 2 years, they got married, and then they had a daughter together. He has a really great job, so the wife doesn't have to work outside of the home, and when their daughter was 2, that is when his wife got pregnant with their second kid, who was a boy. He talks about how his kids are like the light of his life. He loves them so much. Every time before he leaves for work, he goes into their rooms. He basically just thinks about how grateful he is for them. One day while he was sitting on the couch, he started to look at this lamp and he was like, what the F is wrong with this lamp? It's so weird. It's inverted. It's still 3D, but it's just wrong. He was just completely transfixed by it. He could not look away from it. He stayed up all night looking at it. The next day, he didn't go to work. He could not stop looking at this lamp, trying to figure out what was wrong with it. He completely stopped eating. He got up like one time to use the bathroom, but then after that, he didn't get up anymore because he wasn't eating or drinking, so he didn't have to use the restroom anymore. He just sat on this couch. He stared at the lamp for 3 days before finally his wife was like, what is wrong? And called someone to come take a look at him because something was clearly wrong with him. His wife was obviously freaking out, like, what is wrong with this guy? She ends up taking the kids and going to her mother's house, and then finally this guy has an epiphany that the lamp was not real. I'm gonna explain it to you. The house is not real, his wife is not real, the kids, not real. None of it is real. The last 10 years of his life, nothing was real. All of a sudden, the lamp starts to change. It's growing wider, it's growing deeper, it's still inverted, it's looking weird, but it's completely changing his perspective. All he sees is red at this moment. He starts hearing voices, screams, he starts to feel pain. He was feeling a lot of pain, and the first thing that he thought in his mind was like, I lost all my teeth. My teeth are all gone. He starts to come to, and he wakes up. When he opened his eyes, he realizes that he's laying on his back on the sidewalk and he's just swarmed with people. People are standing around him, people that he didn't know. They were all freaking out and he was just completely confused, like did not know what was going on. After that, some cop eventually ended up picking him up, scooping him up and throwing him in the back of his cop car, and he was still really confused, like what's going on. Then he goes to the hospital and he was given a bunch of CT scans. After that, he went through 3 years of horrid depression. He was grieving his wife and his children that never even existed. He thought that he was going insane. He would cry every single night before bed and he would just hope that he could see his wife in his dreams again. But he says that he never sees his wife. Sometimes he sees his son in like his peripheral vision. He's 5 years old, but he can never hear what he's saying. And that is basically the story. So that's the lamp theory coming from the man himself that wrote it on Reddit.
Am I in the wrong for sleeping with my friend's hall pass? I, 49 female, have been friends with Sarah, 49 female, for about 15 years. She's happily married with 2 kids. I'm amicably divorced with a kid. We met at our children's preschool. We've been there for each other through some tough times. Sarah has a huge crush on, I'll call him Jake, as long as I've known her. Jake is popular, but not like stadium-filling musician. From what I can tell, he makes a living, has had popular albums, and has toured with A-listers, but he's not necessarily a household name. He's in his late 40s. Sarah has never met him. She's been to several of his concerts and owns a bunch of merch and considers Jake her hall pass. Again, she's married and would never actually cheat on her husband. Honestly, her crush never seemed off the rails to me. Like, she'd joke about him wooing her on IG, but she didn't, like, stalk him. So, let me say here, I would never, even if I was younger, date or even flirt with a guy that my friend liked or was interested in. Fries before guys, friends before men, all that. It just wouldn't be cool. However, a few weeks ago, I randomly met Jake at a charity event. He was hired as an entertainment. We got to talking, and one thing led to another, and I ended up sleeping with him. It was a one-time thing, fun, and we both knew it was casual. At first, I thought it was funny, wild story to share with Sarah. After all, it's not like she would actually ever be with him, right? But when I told her, she looked really hurt. She wasn't mad exactly, but she said something like, "Wow, I can't believe you actually did that." And she's been distant ever since. I didn't think the friends before men rule applied here because he was basically her movie star crush, not a real romantic prospect for her. But now I'm second guessing everything. I feel awful for upsetting her, but I genuinely didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now I'm wondering, am I in the wrong?